Yes. Okay. Hi, Joe. Okay, so quick update. Q1 timeline. These are different colors actually, but lost is kind of over. Day laborers is kind of midway.
What's the y-axis?
I guess intensity. So we're gonna go back to recap.
I don't know.
The ambiguity. So recap of loft. Kind of 4 main projects: the museum thing over here, tables, door, and grass. Go into a couple of them. So let's look at the space project. We got the kind of initial, then kind of the brainstorm, then production, and then the final thing. So I started out working with that, then I worked on with Peter. Then I kind of went away and thought that it stopped, and then Peter took over and ordered all the stuff, and then helped people put it back together. And so this was a really, this is a cool process or this is a cool project, because I thought it actually stopped, but then it actually continued. So it was interesting that, even though I wasn't there, it kind of went on, and so that was interesting. So then there's the door. So the door initially was the idea that making the loft a little bit more approachable. So got some ideas on that, and then went with Carly from the D School, produced, and the same night put that up, and then it's no longer there. Wow. So I initially was thinking okay, if we go back to all these things, oh, this is great, I did some things. But then I was like, okay, so what do I learn from these things? And so if we're looking at this stuff, what do we say, fail early, fail often. So learning from what was the problem with kind of the one that did not work. So if we're looking back at the project, that was the demo space or the museum space. This is the map of the loft, and these are the people that were involved in it. So you can see there are some people from the small loft and some people from the big loft. While on the door project, there's only people from the small loft involved. So it was interesting to look at it from that level and kind of understanding what am I looking at if I'm going to try to shape systems or working systems to be effective. So kind of the thing, the learning was talk to everyone who was affected by a decision. So it's not necessarily that you have to, not everybody has to decide, but everybody has to be included. Okay, so moving on to day laborers. I'm about a third of the way through it. So the design process, let's see here. Okay, so this is the thing that I kind of started this with, that I was going to look at not just the design process, but also how to pick a direction, and also looking at a result. So that's kind of what I ended my last presentation with at the beginning of the year. So I went out, did some need finding, did a couple of initial prototypes, and this is also another one, a web system of hiring day laborers, and it's kind of like a way of hiring them. So, but now when I looked at that system, and I kind of tried to map those prototypes to it, I found that most of them, there's a couple over here that were about need finding, and then there's a couple prototypes, but then it kind of got into more, let's see, let's do this, and this, and this. Anyways, so it got kind of a little bit more into the implementation side, and I think that personally for me, it was my first time starting to actually focus on implementation, so I kind of dove into that a little bit much, and I kind of lost my focus on the exact design process, because I was working with people that interact with these things every day. They actually really care about results. So it was hard to talk about process when they were I need something today. So that's kind of where I am, and right now I'm looking forward. I'm looking at actually going, appreciating that I need to do this implementation, but waiting on that, or at least putting more of the preference or the emphasis on the design process. So when I'm looking in the future, I'm also looking at things where I'm expanding the avenues of actually affecting this change, where looking at how a store owner who has a problem with day laborers out in front of his shop can actually help the system by advertising a day labor center to the people that come into his shop. And also getting out some feedback forms, and both of these solutions are going into effect tomorrow with different people. So it also means getting some more prototyping. The bar that I'm looking at is, I wanted to present at the end of this quarter or try to hold myself to a tangible position or a number-based thing, try to make impact on some jobs. And so this is the graph of the last 8 weeks of jobs there. So I'm going to try to monitor this and see how my changes or how I work in the future affect this.
What are they averaging?
It's 142 a week.
So you're getting about 142 jobs from the day laborers a week.
Yeah.
And
What
you'd
is-
like to double that or something.
Yeah.
What constitutes a job?
Somebody coming in and hiring them. So that can be
For an
an hour or it can be a day. Yeah.
So it's just a crude measure of transactions.
Yes.